Hi, welcome to the Home Yoga Workshop Level 7 tutorial. So in this video, we learn all about the new poses and movements that are covered in the Level 7 practice. That's a separate video here on this channel. I encourage you to watch the introduction to it before you work with this tutorial video because it describes a lot more about what we're doing here in Level 7. So if you haven't watched it, go look for it. It's called Home Yoga Workshop Level 7 Practice Video. Use this tutorial video to figure out what you do for all the new poses and movements introduced in Level 7. Here you can find the variation of each pose that works best for you, or figure out if you need to substitute any poses for completely different poses. Take notes. There's a PDF index of the Level 7 practice available in the comments section below the Level 7 practice video. So print that out and you can use that to jot things down that you figure out as you work with the tutorial. So after you've used this tutorial video to learn what you need to know and problem solve and figure out whatever comes up, then start practicing with the Level 7 practice video. That's where you do the whole practice with a focus on the rhythm of the breath and pacing. I talk a little bit more about how that works in the intro to the Level 7 practice. Now, I have to explain that I had a small hiccup when I designed the sequences for Level 6 and Level 7 as far as what I'm treating as new poses. So the end result is that there's some overlap between the content in Level 6 and 7 in the tutorial videos. That's because I rearranged some things. So this Level 7 tutorial will teach you some of the same things that I already taught in Level 6. The main downside is that you have to deal with me teaching some things to you twice, but on the other hand, at this stage, it's great to spend extra time getting really solid on those foundational movements of yoga. So learning some things twice isn't all that tragic, and it will probably help you, get a little more solid with what you're doing. But if you don't want to go over the new things twice and you already feel good about what you're doing, just stop watching this Level 7 tutorial when you get to bow pose. Everything from bow pose onward will be the same as what we covered in Level 6. So I'm just figuring out my programming here and created some overlap that way. Okay, hopefully that's not too confusing. The description below this video contains the usual instructions and disclaimers. If you're not already familiar with those, you can check them out. And I'll see you on the mat. Props you'll need are your blanket and your blocks, whatever you're using for blocks these days. We talked about them somewhere in levels 1 through 5. So to warm up, we'll start with half Sun Salutations. We know this one well. We're going to stand in mountain pose. Exhale, inhale, arms up, lengthen the front, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, use the legs, stand up with a long spine, lengthen the front. Exhale, mountain pose. One more time. Inhale up, long front. Exhale, forward fold, soft knees. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, look up, lengthen the spine, stand up, long front. Exhale, mountain pose. Okay, let's continue to warm up a little bit more. So exhale where you are. Inhale, arms up, long front. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Get your hands down there. Bend the knees a lot. Palms are shoulder width. Fingers spread. Now on the inhale, feet walk back. Come to plank. Come to low plank with the knees down. Line everything up. Neck in line with the rest of the spine. Hips in that same line. Line from the crown of the head to the knees. Now next exhale, we're going to lower. Stay broad across the collarbones. Bend the elbows. Graze the rib cage. Chest, chin, then hips. Inhale, cobra. Very familiar with cobra by now. And exhale, child's pose. Push into the hands, take the knees wide, big toes together, child's pose. Inhale, come up to hands and knees. Table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths. Next, exhale, bend the knees, lengthen out the spine. Inhale, look up between your hands, walk your feet up. Come to half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, stand up. Lengthen the front. Exhale, mountain pose. So these are all the building blocks for a new sequence we're going to learn called Sun Salutation A. And I actually have a separate video on Sun Salutation A here on my YouTube channel because it's one of my favorite go-to sequences to warm up the body, prepare for other things. It's a very balanced set of movements. It's not all the movements that you need, but it's a bunch of movements that take about a minute to do. And it's very classical. It comes from, was now incorporated into many lineages of yoga. It's especially associated with Ashtanga yoga, but it's brought into power yoga and power yoga, vinyasa yoga. A lot of different styles use it as a building block. So let's learn Sun Salutation A. We already just covered all the basic movements. The two things that people find most challenging is it's not very possible to do this if you can't get your hands down at all. So if you can't reach the floor that way, you can substitute the pieces of Sun Salutation A that we learned, especially in the level 4 practice. You can do down dog by itself, child's pose by itself, forward fold by itself, all the different pieces. You can work on those separately without actually doing that transition. So then the other hard transition for some people is walking the feet forward. Now this one can be a little easier to modify. You can walk the feet forward just however far you can until you can get weight back in your feet and then come to forward fold. So you don't necessarily have to walk all the way up like I did. It's nice when you can, it will make it a little more even of a movement, but until that can happen when you're in down dog, you can just walk the feet as much forward as you can, get weight into your feet, come to forward fold. Or actually come to half arch and then to forward fold. So just some thoughts of how to work with Sun Salutation A if you're having some issues with it. But next, I'm going to show you the most modified Sun Salutation A. See how this one goes. So we'll stand in mountain pose, exhale, inhale up, exhale, forward fold, Inhale, half arch. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees, plant the hands. The hands can be out there if they need to be. As much as you can though, they're coming back towards your feet. Then on the inhale, or actually, let's do one more inhale here. On the exhale, take your feet back, knees down, lower, elbows graze the ribs, chest, chin, then hips. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple breaths. Always an option, you can walk the dog, bend one knee, press to the opposite heel. Then reset down dog, exhale, soften the knees, lengthen the spine. On the inhale, look up between the hands. You're gonna walk the feet as far up as they can go. Up to half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand all the way up, lengthen the front. Exhale, mountain pose. Okay, great. Let's do that one more time, a little more focus on the breath. So for mountain pose, exhale, inhale up, exhale, forward fold, inhale, half arch, exhale, fold, bend the knees, plant the hands, all on one exhale, feet go back, knees down and lower. A lot to do on that exhale. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. Exhale, bend the knees, lengthen the spine. Inhale, look up between the hands, walk up, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, mountain pose. So that's one way to do Sun Salutation A. If that works really well for you, keep doing it that way whenever we do Sun Salutation A. If you want more challenge, you can try this next version. So option 2. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, take the feet back, and this time just lower to elbow height with your whole body. It's called a low plank, also called chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. We've learned this pose before. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. Next exhale, soften the knees, lengthen the spine. Inhale, look up between the hands, walk up, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand all the way up, long front. Exhale, mountain pose. So that's another option. You could always do it that way when we do Sun Salutation A, if you like that version and it worked well for you. Now the last version is unmodified, and I'll show you that one. This last version, if you're new to this, don't do this one yet. Practice at least what the version I just did, the second one. Practice that for at least a week or two before you try this full version. But when you're ready, this is how it goes. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, we jump all the way back into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe. Exhale, bend knees, lengthen spine. Inhale, look up, we jump up, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, mountain pose. Okay, I'm gonna go over that one more time, a little more focus on the breath, whenever this version is right for you. Exhale, mountain. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Breathe. Next exhale, soften the knees, lengthen the spine. Inhale, look up, hop up, half arch. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, mountain. All right, so I do have that separate video on Sun Salutation A if you want to work with it some more, break it down some more. You can do that as a whole separate practice if you like. If you just have a couple minutes, like 5-10 minutes for your practice in a day, just working with Sun Salutation A is a great thing to do. But for now, let's move on so we can learn some other stuff. The next new pose that we're gonna learn is called half moon. But before we can do half moon, we need to warm up just a little bit more. Let's inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, triangle over the right foot. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, come up, 5-pointed star. Same thing on the other side. Prepare your left foot, prepare everything for triangle. Next exhale, triangle. Get the feet set the way you want them. Set everything up the way you do your triangle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, your version of triangle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, triangle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, triangle. Next inhale, come up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, hands to hips. Prepare for wide leg forward fold. Lift your chest, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Hands where you put them for your version. Inhale, spine lengthens, look up. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. Breathe. Your version, as always. Exhale. On the inhale, head lifts up, look up. Exhale, feet come a little closer, hands to hips if they weren't already there. Inhale, bend the knees, stand up. Exhale, step back to mountain pose. Okay, I think we're ready now for half moon. So, let's first learn it using a block. So if you have a block with various heights, let's set it on the medium height. So we have high, medium, low. Let's go medium. Okay, so watch me first before you try this because it is a balance pose, and if you're doing it and looking at me at the same time, you're more likely to fall over. So this is how it goes. I'm going to start kind of like warrior 3 that we've done before. I'm going to spread my right toes out really wide, nice wide base. You know, look at something that's not moving. Really steady gaze, called drishti gaze in yoga. When I'm ready, I balance on the right foot. My right hand goes down to that block. My left leg and left arm reach up. My left toes are pointing towards that wall. They're not angled down. It's different, very different from warrior 3. My left hip is stacked over the right as much as I can. I'm talking too much and I can't balance and talk at the same time. So left hip over right, left toes pointing towards that wall. Left leg as high as it can go. I'm somewhat limited in this direction, but leg reaching up, left arm reaching up. If I have the balance, I can look at a point past my left fingers. Also, if I have the balance, I could get rid of the block and just have fingertips on the floor. Okay, so now you try it. Get your block there. Stand on the right foot, prepare, steady gaze. All the same things that I said before. And when you're ready, right hand goes down, left arm goes up, left leg goes up. Right hand can move around. Even though you're hanging onto the block, you can move it around as you need to balance. Experiment with that a little bit. Maybe take the gaze up. You can get rid of the block if you feel steady. You can look up at the ceiling. Next, exhale, forward fold. Everything comes down. Forward fold. Next inhale, bent knees, we roll up. Mountain. All right, side 2. So I'm just going to turn this way. You can stay at the front of the mat. I'm going to turn so you can see me. We're going to stand in the left foot. Block's going to be kind of over there on the left side. Prepare. Find your gaze. Inhale. On the exhale, half moon. Left hand down. Right leg, right arm up. It's like triangle in terms of you're opening up against this plane behind you as much as you can. Option to take the hand to the floor, fingertips to the floor. The way your body's built, you're not going to get the palm to the floor, but fingertips to help you balance. You're pressing actively through that right leg. Next inhale, you come up. Up. We came up differently that time. You could come to forward fold, or you could just come up the way we just did. Either way. Let me show you. I just remembered this. You can do half moon against the wall. Hopefully you can see this. So as far as having a plane behind you, you can use an actual wall and practice half moon like this. And it's really cool because you can use the wall to help get that leg up a little higher. You don't have to worry so much about balance. Obviously, what you do on one side, you do on the other side. So, just options. You can pick the one that works for you when you do half moon. If you can't do any of those, you can do it even just part way. Hand doesn't have to go to the floor. Just practicing standing on that leg. All right, that's half moon. What else do we need to know? Okay, we need to know camel in order to do the level 6 practice. So we're gonna come down to our knees. Let's do that through the movements of Sun Salutation A. We're gonna exhale in mountain. Inhale, arms up, lengthen the front. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half arch. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, take your feet back your way and lower. Inhale, Sphinx Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Calm down to hands and knees. Now for camel, we're going to be standing on our knees like this, knees under the hips, just like your mountain pose, but you're on your knees. If that bothers your knees at all, grab your blanket, make it as wide as your mat so you're not going to fall off of it. Stand on your knees on your blanket. Take care of wrinkles too, because you don't want your knees to be sliding around on anything. So, camel pose. Let me move a little more in front of the camera. There are a bunch of options we have. This is a back bend, and we're going to be learning several back bends for our level 6 practice. The most modified, most accessible is just to take opposite hand toward opposite elbow like we've done before. I think in level 1 we learned this movement. And this is going to support your back a little bit. Let's try this version. So on the inhale, just lean back, lift the chest, let the hips go forward a little bit. Feel the front of the body lengthening, feel your core working. You're not letting your head hang all the way back, you're still engaging your neck. And breathe. Inhale, come up. So we're gonna do it again. You can do that version again if you want. If you want to go to the next step, let's point our balls of the feet into the mat, let your heels come up, and let your right arm hang by your right side. So now let's exhale. And then inhale, come up with your right arm, start bending back, let your left hand come towards your left heel. Hips go forward, right arm reaches back and up, long right side, and breathe. This is your second option with camel. Next inhale, come up. Exhale, same thing. Side 2, switch up the arms. Inhale, go back and lengthen. Front of the body, hips are going forward. Maybe look at a point past your left fingers, neck is still engaged, glutes are engaged, core is engaged. Things are strong, you're not just flopping around. Inhale, come up. Take a break with child's pose, knees go a little wider. Come down, child's. Breathe. Inhale, come up. Stand on your knees. For camel, you can do either of the two versions that we just did, or you can do the third version. Heels up. Exhale. And then inhale, take your left arm back and up. And your right arm, or rather up and back. Both hands to your heels. Lift the chest, front of the body lengthens. And breathe. If you still have the space to go farther, or if you're familiar with this pose and your body's ready, tops of the feet go down. Hips go forward. This is an even deeper back bend. Back bends are about lengthening the front of the body. We hear the word back bend, we think it's about the back. Kind of is, but you're lengthening the front. Last exhale. On the inhale, use your core, lift up. Exhale, child's. Lengthen out the back. Last exhale. Inhale, come up to hands and knees. So one note about that is it's really important to have knees right under your hips when you do camel, not too wide. That's going to create back issues. Line it up just like mountain pose. Next pose, we're going to learn locust. Hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank, knees up or down. Exhale, lower all the way. Bring your forehead down, take your arms by your sides, palms down. Push your hands down a lot. Exhale. Inhale, lift your head up. Lift your shoulders up. Lift both legs up. If this bothers your back, break it in half and just do the top part of the body and put the top part of the body down and do the bottom part of the body. Lifting the legs. If it's fine to do both together, do locust like this. Breathe. All right, now let's add something to locust. Let's do flying locust with a variation. So take your arms out in front of you, palms face in, forehead comes down. Exhale here. On the inhale, lift your head up, lift both arms up, lift both legs up. If this doesn't work for you, go back to the first locust that we did. Locust with the palms down. Flying locust, also known as Superman in some circles. Exhale, come down and rest. Breathe. Okay, let's add another variation. So exhale here, then inhale, head up, both arms up, both legs up. Now on the exhale, take your legs wide, bend your elbows to 90 degrees, lift your shoulders, see if your hands can come even higher than your shoulders. Inhale, back to flying locust. Exhale, legs wide, elbows bend. Inhale, flying locust. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last inhale. Then exhale, hands under shoulders, push back to child's pose. Grab the blanket under your knees if you want that. Inhale, come up. I'm going to take just a brief moment to review. I want you in your practice list, and I should have said this at the beginning, but make some notes to yourself about the new things we did. So we did Sun Salutation A, and you can review the video if you need to remember what these are, but notes to yourself about Sun Salutation A, Half Moon Pose is the second one, Camel Pose is the third thing we did that's new, Locust Pose is what we just did. We did 2 versions of locust, arms by the sides, palms down. Then we did flying locust, and then the movement, bending the elbows, taking the legs wide. So that's the new stuff we've done so far. One last back bend here in level 6. Again, back bends are about lengthening the front. In some cases, it means we're actually contracting the back and using the muscles in the back of the body. Well, I guess always we're using them in some degree, to some degree, but we use them in different ways. So let's go to last one here, called bow pose. So come to plank with the knees down, inhale, exhale, lower, elbows graze the ribs, chest, chin, and hips. First, we're going to do a preparation for bow pose, and for some of you, this is going to be what you work with for a while. Bend both knees, then point your toes this way so the bottoms of your feet can push into the ceiling. Bring your forehead back down, arms by your sides. Now what we're going to do is inhale, lift the head, lift the shoulders, lift the arms, lift the feet as much as you can. See if your knees can lift up even a little bit. Pelvis is pushing down, front of the pelvis pushing down. We can practice here. On the exhale, I'm going to reach left fingers back towards the left heel as much as I can. Inhale, center. Exhale, right fingers towards right heel. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. It's hard to talk when you're pushing your abdomen down like this. Couple more, side to side. Now, you could stick with that for a few more breaths. If it's an option for you, reach back, grab your ankles. Still press your heels up into the ceiling. If you can grab your ankles, you're gonna push your ankles into your hands. Exhale, inhale, lift up, bow pose. Pelvis on the floor. Front of the body lengthening, knees lifting. It's like your feet and legs are helping pull your upper body up. And breathe. So if you're not grabbing your ankles, you're still going side to side. That's a fine way to work with it. Next exhale, release. Hands under shoulders. Press back to child's pose. Lengthen everything out. Pause here. One second. Grab this strap. I just thought of something I need to show you. If bow pose is not in the cards for you, you can also work with stretching out those same muscles using a strap, your yoga strap, over your ankle. You lay on your stomach, you hang on to both ends of the strap with your hands, you're up on your elbows. Knees are lined up with each other, lined up with the hips, so you're not like this. Knees are in mountain pose basically. Use the strap to guide the heel towards your hip so you can pull on the strap. This can help prepare the body for bow pose and get you a bit of length on the front. If you're not feeling much here, but you can reach your ankle this way, then you can guide the heel towards the hip. And it's going to stretch a little more through the front of the hip. So that's an alternative to bow pose that you could work with, and you would do that on both sides. But for the sake of time, let's move on to something else. Make any notes on your practice list about bow pose, including if you do this stretch. This is just a prone quad stretch using a strap to guide the heel towards the hip. So prone quad stretch or bow pose. Great. Let's take another child's pose, stretch out the back. Inhale, come up to table, and then we're gonna come down to sitting with the legs extended out in front of us. So everything we did is in the level 6 practice, and that's the more active part of the practice, and we're warming up the body and using the body in a variety of ways and building strength, building heat, doing a lot of full body movements. Now we're switching gears to some deeper stretches, especially things we do seated and laying down on our backs. So forward fold to start. With all these seated poses, you can sit flat on the mat, or if you're feeling really limited and you need a little help, sit on a blanket. Makes it a little easier, right on the edge of the blanket. Okay, so options here. Seated forward fold. I'm going to break it down. First option, strap around the balls of the feet. Toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, heels are pressing away. Let's lengthen the spine. Inhale and exhale. You're using the strap to help guide the belly towards the thighs. We're not trying to get the upper body down. We want to still have a pretty long spine. Like, we're not trying to crunch the shoulders down. Often people will look more like this. Hopefully you can see my back. We want to avoid that. We want to look for this. Hinging in the hips, belly towards the thighs. If you're having trouble getting that, bend the knees a little bit. It'll take the hamstrings out of things so that you can fold with a nice long spine. Over time, the legs can straighten out a little bit. You can hang on however close to the feet it works for you to go. So depending on your flexibility, you decide. If you don't need the strap, then you can hang on to your big toes. First 2 fingers loop around the outsides of the big toes. When we fold, before we actually fold, we want to lengthen the spine, look up, and then exhale and fold. Elbows can bend out to either side. Another option, you can take the hands over the tops of the feet like this. This is kind of a wrist stretch here. Another option, hands can wrap around the sides of the feet. Seated forward fold. And release that. We are in the stretching, cooling down part of the practice, except for one thing, and it's called boat pose, which is still a strengthening movement, but it's super valuable. So let's learn a boat pose. Keep the blocks to the side for a second. Do boat pose off the blanket. It's gonna be easier. So let's start like this, knees bent. Wrap your arms around your knees, hug your knees in, lift the chest, and this is both your preparation and your rest in between your boat poses, unless you're very ambitious, and then I'll show you what to do. But this is the preparation for boat pose. Now to do boat pose, hands behind your knees, nice long spine. Step 1, balance. Your toes can even be down here, but you're balancing so that you have a V shape from your thighs through your torso. Back is long, chest lifting. We're not doing this. Avoid this. You modify it enough that you can keep this going on. Okay, so See how that's working. If that's working great, you can lift your feet up more. If that kind of works but not very well, then keep one set of toes down while the other one comes up. Okay? Use the core. We felt the core before. All of this is working and engaging. If that's going just fine, legs can go straight. If that's going just fine, the hands let go. Steady gaze on a single point. This is the full unmodified boat pose. And in between option is to not be hanging on with the hands, but have the knees bent. So all kinds of possibilities. Let's come down and rest. Hug your knees in, make your spine long. Now, let's go back to boat pose again. I'm just gonna review the options. It could look like this. It could look like this. Could look like this. Could look like this. Or like this. Or like that. You find something that works, but the whole time your belly's pulling in towards your thighs, you're engaged, you're not rounding your back. Find something and exhale, bend your knees, hug your knees in. Now, in the level 6 video, I do show you a possibility that you can do instead of this in between pose. This doesn't have a name, it's just preparation for boat pose. Most of you will not be doing this transition, but some of you might be wanting to do it. So I am going to show it to you. You need 2 blocks or books or whatever you're using for your blocks that are a little bit in front of your hips. The transition goes like this. You cross your ankles, you put your hands on the blocks, and you lift up as much as you can. Okay, if that doesn't work, you can keep your ankles down and just work on lifting your hips. So it's somewhat using the same muscles as an L sit if you're familiar with that. But it's just something to work on. You can lift the hips, or you can lift the feet, or you can lift them both, or you can do it without blocks, but that's even harder. And I haven't done it for a little while, so I'm not going to try to demonstrate it here on the camera. But you can do that between your boat poses. So let's go back, do boat pose. Do your version, your boat pose. Couple breaths. Next exhale, or let's inhale here. Next exhale, do your transition. So either feet go down and knees hug in, or you lift to whatever degree. Exhale down, inhale boat. Exhale, come down. Inhale, if you're lifting, you lift. If you're not, you just get to rest. Exhale down, inhale, last boat. But let's come out of that, so we gotta keep moving to get to all the poses. That introduces you to boat pose. In level 6 practice, we're gonna do boat pose 3 times. No, it will repeat 2 times, but each time we'll do it 3 times for 3 breaths. And you just know you have lots of options. How do you do your boat pose and how do you do your transition? Okay, let's move on. Reverse table. We're going to look at 2 ways to do this. First option, have your hands behind you, fingertips pointing in, feet hip width out in front of you, and we can do this. This is reverse table. In level 6 we do reverse plank, so I'm going to teach you reverse table and reverse plank, and you can choose which one you like. So hips are lifting, lifting, lifting. This is a different and helpful movement for the shoulders. It's kind of the opposite movement as plank and down dog. So table pose is your first option. If you want more challenge, then you do reverse plank, where the legs are straight. And The legs are going to rotate inwards a little bit, gives you more control and it's safer. Reverse plank goes like this. So you pick one or the other. Legs rotating in. And breathe. Exhale, come down. So grab your practice list, make your notes about boat pose, about seated forward fold, boat pose, reverse plank or reverse table. Next new one is head to knee pose. Again, you could sit on a blanket. Head to knee is a lot like forward fold, but with one variation, which is one knee's gonna bend. So let's bend the left knee out to the side, put the left foot against the right leg. Looks like this. Your hips are facing forward, and then you have all the same options as with forward fold. So all the same things. You can use the strap, or you can have your hands around your feet. This knee is sinking down, so it's a little bit of a hip stretch. Whatever you're hanging on to with your hands, we're gonna lengthen the spine, make space, and then inhale here, exhale, fold, hinging over that right leg. Decide where you're hanging on. Option to bend the right knee. That's a way to change up where you're feeling the stretch. If you bend the right knee a bit, you'll feel more through the hip and low back. So head to knee pose. It's a kind of a bad name. It's more like belly to thigh pose for most of us, but eventually the head comes down. So that's where it gets its name. Exhale here. Inhale, come up. Exhale, straighten the left leg out, shake it out. Same thing, other side, right knee bends. You're gonna set up using whatever you do. If you're not using the strap, let me show you that version. If you're not using the strap, you're gonna hang onto the foot. We lengthen the spine, inhale, exhale, fold. Head to knee. Breathe. Exhale. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release. Shake your legs out. Next one, bound angle, which is also known as the butterfly stretch. Soles of the feet together. You can hang onto your feet, knees going out to opposite sides. In yoga, we like to do this variation though, where we actually open the soles of the feet like the pages of a book to whatever degree you can. That's gonna help your knees rotate out. It will make more of a stretch through the adductors on the inside of the leg. So you can do that. If that's too much to think about, you can keep the soles of the feet together. I'm gonna show you a few options for this. So let's do this one first. We're doing whatever we do with the feet. We inhale, long spine. Exhale, you can bend your elbows to the outsides of the legs, come forward. Now, my hips are structured in a way that I don't go down very far, my knees don't go down very far. Some of you will look very different in this. I think it's just the way my body's built. We all have our quirks. Yoga will show some of that up. But this feels helpful and effective for me, so I do it this way. Now, if that's challenging, you could elevate the hips more. I actually often like to do this pose sitting on a block. And in the level 6 video, I do it sitting on a block. You could be up on a couch cushion. If the hanging on to the feet thing doesn't work too well, you can, especially if your hips are up, you can just put your hands out in front of you and walk them out to whatever degree. So, bound angle. Make your notes on your practice list about bound angle. And then we're gonna inhale, come up, hug your knees in, nice long tall spine. And we're gonna finish up here. So in level 6, we do a bunch more reclining poses, but you know all of them from the other levels, so I'm not going to go over them. They are a good preparation for the last 2 things we're going to do. So if you feel you need more warm-up before the next 2 poses, you'll know when we get there, but you can pause the video, do some of the stretches that we did in level 2 are good preparation for these last 2 poses. So, half lord of the fishes, also known as a half spinal twist. We are going to sit, I'm turning so you can see me, you can sit however you want. Legs out in front of us. Bend your right knee, pull your right knee in, hang on with your arms spine long and tall. And this is the first step. You could stay here if you want, but you might want to do a little more. So if you do, take your right foot to the outside of your left leg like this. Make your left leg active. You're going to point your toes up towards the ceiling. Now, you could stay here, and if you, well, let me show you how you would do this pose. If this is as far as you're going to go with the legs, you're going to hang on with your left hand. Take your right hand behind you, palm down, fingers face away. Inhale, nice long spine, and then exhale, twist. Look over your right shoulder. So your left hand is pulling your right knee that way, and that's helping you turn your belly and chest that way, so you can look over that back shoulder. You want to feel your spine being really long and tall so that there's space for the vertebrae to move. If it's all squished down, you're not going to get that sense of twist and length. You look as far back there as you can. So that's a good option for a lot of people, but if you want to go farther, you're going to bend your left knee, take your left heel to the outside of your right hip, and then still sit down, and you're going to twist like this. Gets a little more of a hip stretch here, outer hip. If it's too easy, next option, left elbow goes to the outside of that right knee. You're twisting this way, using that elbow against the knee to send the knee that way while the torso is twisting that way. That's still too easy. You can see if your left hand can reach underneath. I'm gonna have to turn this around so you can see. For some people, eventually, left hand can reach underneath like this, right hand reaches around, and they clasp. And then you can use that bind, this is called a bind, where the hands catch each other. You can use that to help you twist and look over the right shoulder. But any of them are great. Couple breaths. Half Lord of the Fishes is the name of this, or half spinal twist. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, no matter how you are twisted, let's unwind. Take your hands to the other side and just look over the left shoulder for a minute to counter twist. And then we're gonna come out of this. So if your bottom knee is bent, take that out first. And then we just put everything back where it belongs. Let's do side 2. Left knee pulls in, spine gets tall, step 1. Step 2, left foot to the outside of the right leg. Right hand to the outside of the left knee, left hand behind you, spine tall. Use both arms To help you twist, look over that left shoulder. Right leg is active. If this is good, you stay here. If you need more, right knee bends. Sit up tall. If you need more, elbow. Still not done, the bind. Breathe. Last exhale. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, unwind, counter twist to the other side. So you just take your hands over there, look over your right shoulder, come back to center. Extend the right leg if it's not already extended, then unwind everything. Shake it out. Now, last thing is I'm going to introduce you to half lotus pose. If you have your blanket, go ahead and sit on the blanket, edge of the blanket. Sit as if you're going to do easy seat. Let's see, my body is such that I have to do half lotus with the left leg first. So do easy seat for a moment, left leg on the outside. Inhale, long spine, exhale, hands walk away. Sitting on the edge of the blanket. Maybe hips are up higher. Okay, inhale, come back. Now, for many of you, just substitute easy seat for half lotus. That is a good thing. I did that for many years. Easy seat is great. Easy seat's always a good substitute for half lotus. Yeah, and I don't even do full lotus pose anymore. I decided not to, but half lotus I do like to do because it's a deeper hip stretch, but you have to know if your body's ready for it. So I'm going to show you the steps in case you're someone who wants to do it. Left foot comes in, top of the left foot in that right hip crease. If this doesn't work out, then it's not time to do half lotus, then you're going to keep doing easy seat. If this is okay and your knee is having no issue, then we can try half lotus, where the right knee also bends and that foot comes under the left hip, and we're like this. Half lotus, just sitting there. It's a bit of it's deeper hip stretch than easy seat. But if your hips are not ready to stretch this way, then your knee is going to take more of the movement. If the hips don't move like this, the knee is going to twist. So if your knee has any issues here, don't do half lotus. Keep working with easy seat, and that will also work with your hips. So this is half lotus with the left leg on top. Let's come out and do easy seat with the right leg on the outside. It doesn't matter which side you do first. My body does better if I do the left side first because I think my right hip joint is set up differently. I think the angle of the bone meeting the hip is different on the right than the left, so I have to do it in a certain order. As you practice yoga, you'll figure out those things for your body. We're not necessarily symmetrical. Most of us aren't. Okay, so that's easy seat. Come up. You may be repeating easy seat again. If you figured out that's what you did on the left side, that's most likely true on the right side, but if it's not, you can figure that out. If you did half lotus on side one, let's try it on side two. Top of the right foot comes to the left hip crease. See if that's okay. If it is, left foot underneath right hip. Hands on the knees gives it a little weight. And we sit. You can also come forward just like we did with easy seat. That's a little bonus. You can come forward. There's some other fancy things you can do here. But I don't actually teach that in the level 6 practice. So for now, we're just trying out the movement to see what we think of it. Couple breaths. And then we're gonna work out. Right leg comes up, left leg comes up. Put your feet on the ground, take your knees side to side. And that is all the new stuff in level 6. So make your notes about half Lord of the Fishes / half spinal twist, and also about half lotus. Make your notes for your substitutions as well. Now, brief final relaxation pose just so we don't miss it. Set it up. We'll just be here like a minute or so because this is a tutorial video and it's already long compared to the level 6 practice. So set it up your way. You know what to do. You've done this before. Breathe. Give all your same options for how to set it up. See what comes. Now, if you have time and you want to stay here longer, just pause the video or let it play out and you can get up when you want to. For the rest of us, let's bend our knees, feet to the floor. Roll onto one side. Adjust. Inhale, come up. Sit up. Namaste.